All right, so let's go ahead and just jump right into it. Here's an update on the Trump and Elon drama. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Tech Solutions. I really hope that if you guys learned something new, you guys can please consider dropping a thumbs up and subscribing if you feel like we earned it. Before we even get into the drama, I do want to make you guys aware of what's going on the back end. So the U.S. Treasury just bought $10 billion back of its own debt, the largest Treasury buyback in history. Something that I think that we will talk more about later down the road once the Trump and Elon drama begins to fade. Again, just want to make sure that you're aware. So the Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. For those that do not know, there's obviously drama between Elon and Trump, and this all started when Elon began to criticize the big, beautiful bill. A lot of Republicans were not even of support of this bill because of how much it adds to our deficit. Obviously, Elon is taking this personally because he invested 130 days of his own time into the DOGE, which was supposed to remove waste and fraud from government spending. Now, to take away $150 billion is what Elon has supposedly saved our government so far. To now be adding this big, beautiful bill could possibly be adding $3.5 to $5 trillion to our deficit within the next 5 to 10 years. And this is why Elon is not a big fan of it. With that being said, Elon has now said that the Trump tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of this year. Technically speaking, we can speak about a technical recession or what feels like an actual recession. For those that do not know, we've already received a negative GDP report for Q1 of 2025. If we receive a second negative GDP report, technically that would be a recession. Also, Justin, President says that Federal Reserve is a disaster and calls for a 100 basis point interest rate cut. Remember, the way that they can actually lower rates is if the Federal Reserve actually begins to cut them. But right now, the Federal Reserve has no intention of actually cutting interest rates. It's even been said that some members of the Federal Reserve might not even expect a rate cut for the rest of 2025, something to take into consideration. But the reason that Trump is so desperate for a rate cut is because, again, they need to refinance their debt by the end of the year. And just like, again, people like you and I, we're not going to want to refinance, let's say, our mortgage at a higher rate. Let's say that you have a 3% mortgage. Who's going to want to refinance at a 5 or 6% mortgage? No one, right? Because at that point, it's simply going to make it more expensive to borrow the same money at just a higher interest rate. And that's what Trump is trying to avoid, forcing the Federal Reserve, which he has no control of, to start cutting interest rates. But the Federal Reserve has made it very clear. If economic data does not support a rate cut, they will not do it. So this is why Trump is taking it personally and trying to put pressure on Jerome Powell, who's the head of the Federal Reserve, to start cutting interest rates as soon as possible. President Trump also says that Bessent, who's the Treasury Secretary, and a series of other people that are part of his administration will be meeting with representatives of China on June 9th to discuss a trade deal. If I'm not mistaken, that is going to be this Monday. So again, something to be paying attention to. Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty going on with any trade deal actually happening between the U.S. and China. Right now, that, in my opinion, is the biggest focus. If you're part of my close friends group on Instagram, again, I've made it very clear that at the start of the week, that was the main focus. Now, no one, in my opinion, could have predicted this clash of egos between Elon and Trump. So obviously that has taken over and that has been the main headline. But I want to remind you to not kind of lose course of what should be the main focus. Our debt, how much bond yields have gone up, and trade deals. Because again, if trade deals begin to fall apart, the ego clash between Trump and Elon is going to be the least of our worries. If the trade deals begin to provide more tension or uncertainty into our market, then I want to remind you that that is the main reason markets sold off in the early part of 2025. The only reason that they recovered was due to the hope that they were actually going to sign trade deals with all these different countries. And if China begins to backfire, then again, that is something that most likely will negatively impact our market. But if they do figure out a trade deal, then that should be bullish for the market. So something to be paying attention to in the next few days. I found this to be pretty funny. Obviously, Trump and Elon are no longer friends according to what it is that's being said. And we got Mark Zuckerberg here saying that Trump is saying your name is Elon now. Again, just a little lighthearted joke. The other thing that I also wanted to bring to your guys' attention, which again is kind of what started this whole thing, is President Trump is saying that he doesn't mind Elon turning against him. If the bill doesn't pass, there will be a 68% tax increase. Now, to me, this makes no sense. The whole reason that a lot of people voted for Trump was that he was going to lower taxes, he was going to lower the deficit, and get rid of waste. But now it seems like it's become the clash of the egos. It's now has nothing to do with what he ran with when it came down to his campaign policies, but now hoping and forcing this big, beautiful bill, according to him, to get passed. And if it doesn't pass, he is now saying that there will be a 68% tax increase. That is not a good look, in my opinion. But again, something that we will have to follow up with. Tesla, Elon Musk agrees that with Bill Ackman that he and the president should make peace. Should make peace for the good of the country. In my opinion, I think that this is a little far-fetched. Maybe it's just me. You guys let me know down in the comment section. I think that if he just, didn't agree with the bill or anything like that, yeah, that could be an easy thing to disagree on and come back from. Friends argue all the time. Now, obviously, these are two very, very powerful people, so it's a little bit more public, or a lot more public. But when you pretty much say, when Elon accused Trump of being part of the Epstein files, at that part, you're insinuating that he's a pedophile. And I don't think that that is something that you can easily come back from. So I do believe that that bridge is burned. I do not think that this was something that was staged, as I don't know who wants to play a joke with their friend about accusing them to be a pedophile. Again, you're not just accusing anyone. You're not just accusing a political figure. Yes, you're the wealthiest man in the world, but you are accusing the most powerful person in the world, the President of the United States. Something to take into consideration. So, and then of course, Elon just continues to retweet whatever it is that's being said about him from Trump. So Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that no one else wanted. That he knew for months I was going to do, and he went crazy. To me, I really don't think this is necessarily true from Trump, and the reason why is that those government subsidies, when it comes down to the EV vehicles, were set to expire anyways. Elon has openly said that, yeah, it wouldn't be the worst idea to get rid of these subsidies, but to also do it for these oil companies as well. So I think that Donald Trump is simply trying to be petty and get under his skin, but nonetheless, Elon responding to it and then going for personal attacks back, I don't also think is a good look. At the end of the day, it's unfortunate, but Elon does have to somewhat almost bend the knee to Trump, because Trump can make his life so much more difficult as he tries to get deregulation for his full autonomy vehicle. Remember, Elon and Tesla has been selling the dream of full autonomy and the Optimus robot. It's been over 10 years since this has been promised. It's what investors have been investing into, because we all know that Tesla as a car company is not growing. But how can we believe that this will actually get done when now he's burned the bridge with his relationship to the most powerful person in the world? That it's not that he's going to make it impossible, but he can definitely make it so much more difficult for him to get deregulated and to allow Tesla to thrive while Trump is in office. You guys let me know down in the comment section what you think. Again, a quick little recap on my day. Tesla short, I kept it super simple. I took this short during today's live trading session with the LPP team. I made $3,700, leaving myself with my one lucky share. And the only other trade that I ended up taking was a quick little short. And this one was actually at market, shortly after the market opened, into the close. I made $2,600, leaving myself with my one lucky share. So a little bit over 6K on the day, following my 15K day yesterday. And again, that is all thanks to the volatility that presented itself after the sell-off. As of right now, positions are closed when it comes down to my trades. Excited to enjoy the weekend, and we'll see how the markets open on Monday. I'll make sure that I do my part in keeping you guys up to date. All I ask you guys to do is to follow and subscribe for updates. And do not forget, if you want to watch me trade live as soon as Monday, that's going to be the second link in the description down below. So you can join for as little as $1.35 a day is what it breaks down to with the current sale we have going on. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.